Welcome to MotoGP Mac, where knowledgeable MotoGP fans congregate and fanboys fear to tread.
Way first go to Jakey Fu. What a legend, boy.
I'm ready for Oprah.
I think you have that written down in front of you now at this stage.
Well, and they will be after with Marquez doing well. You're going to hear, because that was all Marquez, and me riding that bike. That wasn't the bike. They must have said it. They must have said it to the camera guys. Look back during practice themselves. They must have said it 4 or 5 times. Especially Marquez. Marquez was like, it wasn't the bike, it was me.
So yeah. So look, we're shooting this just a couple of hours after the race, I suppose. So we don't have all the riders' info, but I suppose it's a good opening discussion to have. As we've said, the Honda has been a pile of poo all season, and how or why that when it comes to today's race and yesterday's sprint, and even all weekend, really, that the Honda bike was quite good. And I think you're spot on, right? I think there's a couple of things that are going on. I think the fact that no one had data on this track, everyone had simulations, but no one had real raw data of how to set the bike up, how to do this. They had all the best guesses and whatever. And the second thing I think realistically is that with this type of track and this track itself, the riders can learn it on the PlayStation. They can look at a map and all of this, and it's how they adapt and learn the circuit is really, really interesting. And you could see, to be fair, most of the older school, with the exception of the two boys, Bezzecchi and Martin, a lot of the older school riders kind of came up towards the grid. So you had your Fabios, Mark, Mir. They were really showing their experience in learning and going to a new track. Is it 100% that? I think the rider made a good 90% of the difference in that track, learning exercise and how it did. And
also dealing with the heat too. Dealing with the heat, an experienced team that has to deal with heat and stuff like that. The changes.
Yeah. Well, look, you'd expect that out of the teams to all be at that level now, right? But I think a lot of it came down to the riders' understanding and learning the circuit and knowing, okay, like I had some fucking morons onto me about, you said the track was going to be dirty. Simon Crafar wrote
that guy,
it was fucking clean, and the track was dirty. What I mean? Like, it wasn't Mandalika dirty, but it was still dirty. Like anyone that went slightly offline, that rear wheel fucking spun up.
Right.
And you were nearly meeting the fucking ground face planted, right?
You were just clarifying what Simon Crafar was saying. You're just saying, listen, folks, I know he said it was clean, but what he meant was it's clean for the situation.
Yeah, and look, there was a couple of things there, right? Like Carlos Espinosa, or whatever his fucking name is, and Lars Capirossi left Misano after the Misano Grand Prix and went straight to India. So like this fucking track was being washed, prepared for fucking 2 weeks before they were there, which is very unusual that they were going. So there was definitely some concerns about the circuit, 100%. I think they pulled off an absolutely fantastic event to the to the organizers and to the people there.
Especially for the first time out.
A few of the things need to change, all right. Like I thought, and again, look, this is just me not being critical, but the first corner crash, turn one crash, and whatever, it took them a bit long to clear. So I think it was a lap 8 or so by the time they got all the bikes out of the way and that people could pass into turn one. Now, saying that anyway, back to the Hondas, I think they found something to help Mir in the Misano test. And while Marquez said that there was no major change or this, that, and the other, Mir's was a little bit more complimentary and said, look, we found something. We found a couple of settings. He overall liked the new bike better than the current bike, whereas Marquez was like, no. And
Marquez actually said it got worse. to be
Yeah,
quite
and Crafar said it also. He's like, Mark went out on the new bike and then came back in and then went out on the old bike and went faster on the old bike than the new bike. Now,
Well,
look,
he rode so well. Oh my God!
a lot of that is to do with the change of the riding position and all this. And I think this is the key bit for Mir, that he discovered in the new riding position what it was. Also, there was a person who was saying that Mark didn't use the 2024 engine in the test. He actually did. It was Bradle didn't use the 2024 engine in the Misano Grand Prix because he has to use the same spec engine as that's in the bike. So they are messing around with center gravities and all of this stuff to understand. And I think that's what helped Mir. The other thing with Mir as well is that I think it was a really good and well needed result for him. You know, he finished top 5 in the race. Okay, he did crash out in the sprint, but you know, look, he's pushing. Do you know what I mean? He was there with Marquez, and he was all of the match for Marquez. Do you know what I mean? He was, you know, he showed that he's not a fucking tail end Charlie. Do you know what I mean? So again, but there's a lot of question marks over what happened this weekend. Is it majority? Like, I personally think it's because there was not a lot of data there. You know, everyone was just learning the circuit. I expect teams to go there next year and be a second and a half, 2 seconds faster.
Yeah.
You know, that's personally it. The other thing I want to touch off as well is there's another fucking Egypt that was around giving me grief this afternoon about Brad Binder. Now, Brad Binder, I've never said Brad Binder is not a good rider, and I've never shown. But apparently he was saying I didn't give him an awful lot of love. Brad Binder made an amazing start in turn 1. And then he made one fucking pass for the rest of the race, so why should I call him out to say he had a great race? Yeah, he had an okay race. Do you know what I mean? He finished. Do you know what I mean? And then he's going on about all this shit. Now,
don't worry yourself. That is a fanboy. That's the guy that wants you to go out there and cheerlead for him. Okay?
But look, I think
they don't want to hear the truth. You know what I mean? They don't want to hear
it.
But
it's not the truth. But I did say at the start of the race weekend that I didn't expect much from them because they're using the same tires that they used in Austria, the same compound of tires this weekend. And that set of compounds did not suit the KTM. If they found that it was too hard, it was spinning up every time they tried to put on the power. And you could see it. You could see it. Mark on yesterday.
The tire didn't have heat problems before, if I'm not mistaken. Refreshing.
No, it is. It's a heavier duty tire to deal with to deal with the circuits, the high speed or the high acceleration and braking. So look, the way I see it is like Brad did it. He did an okay race. You know, he was anonymous, really. Do you know what I mean? Because like you could see he was trying to catch the person, but he couldn't make any inroads. Okay, today's race he did. Who did he did catch the person on the very, very last lap. Do you know what I mean? Again, it wasn't the expected. I like, to me, to say a standard race for Brad Binder now is to be battling for the top 3, and he wasn't. And you know, your man was going on about if he didn't get caught in the yellow flag in qualifying, then you know he would have been up in P3 or 3-4. And my return to that is, well, if Marquez didn't crash and Pecco didn't crash, he'd be 2 fucking places further back than he finished.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's just, but.
And let me clarify. I know before somebody says, oh, they all use the same tires. Yes, I know they use the same tires, but the KTM does not like heat.
They all use
a B tire or a C tire. The C tire works better on the Yamaha under at 100 degrees than the KTM uses at 100 degrees. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And look, no, it's just, I suppose, it's just, I suppose, for me, when I'm looking at it, it's just idiots thinking that we don't praise riders for when they do well. Like, we do, but you know, he didn't do anything exciting today to say, yeah, he was fucking amazing. Do you know what I mean? He did.
Yeah.
If he's finishing 4th or 5th, that's, for me, that's kind of a dull race for him. Do you know what I mean? He should be battling for the front.
Yes.
So, I think Quartararo did very well today. I for the Yamaha, you know, what I actually thought was very funny, and I don't know, did you see this? But when Quadraro was battling with Mir, the Honda couldn't accelerate the Honda, or the Honda couldn't accelerate the Yamaha down that 1.2 kilometers.
Hard to judge on that one because of the heat. Was it spinning tire? Was it spinning up?
Yeah, but you would still expect the Honda to close the gap and at least get up near him. Do you know what I mean? And he didn't. Do you know what I mean? He didn't. But no, I think he did. And yeah, the incident with Martin, who rode absolutely brilliant all weekend, but we'll talk about him. But that incident with Martin was a little bit across the line for what I would like. Do you know what I mean? On the last lap, and it is the last lap, and I know it, but you never take someone's line.
Last lap. I let him go. In the last lap, I'll let him go on that.
You
one.
Never take another person's line. Do you know what I mean? Like that could have.
I'm more forgiving because when it's the last lap.
Yeah. I know. I just thought it was a bit OTT. Do you know what I mean? But I thought it was good that Yamaha or Fabio was thereabout, and again, Morbidelli finishing up in the top 6 or top 7. That doesn't happen either. So kind of shows you how much of an anomaly this race actually is.
I was thinking is this another Coda? It's the Southern Coda.
Yeah, it's just one of those tracks where when they have the data next year, I think it'll be much, much better. But Martin this weekend, absolutely 100%, he is a championship contender. But I'm still not sure. Like, he's won a couple of races now and he has the confidence.
Mm-hmm.
I think we were a little bit robbed this weekend with the sprint race. I think it probably would have been a lot different. I think like we were all on Saturday, like, fucking hell, what an amazing race out of Martin. How he controlled it, pulled the gap, blah 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 blah.
But he still doesn't control the pace the way Pecco usually does.
Yeah, but I just think with Bezzecchi, I think Bezzecchi was the boy all weekend. Do you know what I mean? And him getting taken out, kind of, I suppose I felt a bit robbed. Do you know what I mean? That we didn't see it. And then today, like 8.6 seconds that he won it in 21 laps. You know what I mean? He was fucking trucking, like, and I don't think even yesterday in the sprint, I don't think Martin would have had the pace. So, look, if it's ends and buts, but I think, I would be a little bit more concerned about Bezzecchi than Martin for the championship, if I'm honest.
Okay. We got one of your early picks for the championship again.
Yeah, I think Bezzecchi. I don't know. I think now look. I suppose when I look at it, Pecco, it's very hard to bet against Pecco, right? But this weekend, you can see it with what was going on with Pecco on the bike. He was lifting the rear wheel, skating on the bike. Pecco is normally fairly planted. Do you know what I mean? The bike might go a little bit sideways going into the corner. That's normal, but it never lifts much, right? And it just looks so nervous and skatey for him.
And the front end was pushing. When he would go into a corner and the camera's behind him, you could see that front end drifting like it was a right-hand corner. You see the thing drifting left, the front end drifting left. I was like, uh-oh.
And that's exactly it. That was exactly it. And you could see it that he didn't have the feeling on the medium and the soft front. And you could see the tire was squishing too much for him, and that was giving him the bobbling and the bouncing. And this is kind of, I suppose, the reason that he went for the harder tire. Now, the harder tire is like a fucking rock. Do you know what I mean? And that's the tire he chose for the race. He knew it was going to be a risk, but in the brake zones where he wasn't stable, it was giving him the feel that he needed. So he just needed to be careful. And obviously, being careful, pulling the pin to get away from Martin, he lost the front. But I think where you're looking at it is that what we saw with Pecco over the course of this weekend is that there was his major strength was taken away from him, and all Ducati riders who look at Pecco's data say that Pecco is absolutely fucking amazing on the brakes. And if you take that away, he just becomes like a normal Ducati rider. So this is why then I kind of say Bezzecchi, is more of a danger than Martin at the moment, right? Because Bezzecchi sees the fucker up close and personal, right?
Right.
So they're around fucking around on the track having a shits and giggles, right? And I'm like, well, all I need to do is start following you a little bit more, and I start to learn how to brake deeper and deeper and deeper, and all of a sudden I can match you on the brakes on an older bike. You know, it will be interesting.
And
So-
Bezzecchi likes the rain, so you get a guy that likes to slip and slide around. Okay, now he's usually slipping and sliding around in the rain. Now he's slipping and sliding because the tire's getting overheated or mushy. Or
yeah. And look, I just think we're going to Japan next weekend, so I'm sure there will probably be a couple of sessions in the rain. But no, I just think we're in for a really good run in. You know, Jorge Martin is definitely in the driving seat. You know, with his confidence is up. So is Bezzecchi's confidence is up. Do you know what I mean? Like how he came back through the sprint. I genuinely reckon if the sprint race was the actual full race length that the sprint was, he would have got on the podium again.
Yeah.
Do you know? So look, there's definitely a contender in him too, and it'll just be interesting to see. Like I don't think Pecco fell today because of pressure. You know, Pecco, in my view, he pulled the pin and he was trying to go as fast as he can. That wasn't, oh shit, Jorge Martin is behind me. He's like, I need to do 5 fast laps to break it. Do you know what I mean? And those mistakes happen. And
the propensity to make that mistake goes tenfold when you're that tired, you're that fried. Your nerves, your physical body, your nerves start going.
Yeah, and he's still suffering from the crash.
Yes, and that too.
Like he's still walking around with the band or like a full leg bandage on that leg. So you know it's a full leg support bandage. So he's still not 100% comfortable with it. So for me, when I look at this, I'm how would I say, like I think we're in a really privileged and blessed place to actually watch 3 of the best riders go fucking head to head towards the end of the season. Like remember, we've only 5 weekends to go, and they're nearly back to back, all of them. Like it's done in November. Do you know what I mean? We're now almost in October. So, you know, I think we're going to be pretty blessed to do it.
Now, then we have next year, which we're going to be blessed to see 4 riders.
Well, yeah, so like that's a good segue into the whole fucking Marc Marquez fucking roundabout. So the first thing that I have to say is that I was in stitches when I saw the there was an Indian fan and he had a sign and it's like, "Mark, we love you. Ducati, please sign Mark."
Yeah, I saw that.
But it went on to Mark and then he just gave like a dirty little fucking grin, right?
Yeah, he was trying not to laugh.
And according to Sky IT, then, or Sky Italy, they were saying that it's all done and that it's going to be officially announced in Japan, obviously next weekend. But there was also an article out. I can't remember whom, but they were saying that Mark doesn't have the out clause, and that's the negotiation that's going on. That's the delay in all of this. There's no official out clause. So there's something going on, and that's what's going to be completed next week in Japan.
Don't make it.
Oh no, look, whether there's an out clause or not, if he doesn't want to ride, I think they let him out. Do you know what I mean? I think they'd have no choice.
And I think he wants out. I still think he wants out. Like, if he's holding anything up like it did last year, he would have been out. The last contract wasn't for his father.
Yeah, but I think
the grandfather wanted him out last time.
Yeah, but what I mean is that like he'll find a way to get out. Do you know what I mean? He'll find a way to breach that contract to get out. He'll do it. Like he'll nearly do a Maverick Vinales, like try to blow up the fucking bike and. Do you know what I mean? Of course, that's going to get you fired. Do you know what I mean? So look, I think, I think it's going to be announced obviously next week. I would be surprised if he would have a sudden change of heart. Like. But then look, he's not the sharpest knife in the drawer either. Do you know what I mean? He could have this weekend and say there could be something in the air. Do you know what I mean? I might, and
Yeah, he doesn't like change. Let's put it that way. No one likes change. He despises change.
Yeah, look, it just doesn't make him comfortable. And, you know, I think I would like to see him on a Ducati.
Oh, he's going to look like the biggest ass in the world, though, if he doesn't. There's so many people want him off.
Yeah, but yeah, they do. But see, I think one of the points that someone was making, and it was a really valid point, was that Mark might only want a 1 year deal on the Grassini. Do you know what I mean? And if I was a Grassini, I'd want to tie Mark in for 2 years, right?
2 years. Minimum. But I'd still take the 1 year.
No. Mark wants the 1 year.
Right. But if I was Grassini, if I had to, I'd still take the 1 year.
Yeah. I don't know. So look, but Mark is not going to take 2 years because 2 years is going to be, put him out of sync with. So, I don't know. I just think it's just.
And you know what? With Grassini, if I was sitting in their shoes, even if he says I want 1 year, because he's flighty, I'd let him have the 1 year, and knowing that he won't split with a brother.
No, he like I think after, how would I say this? So if he takes 1 year, that puts him in sync with every other major manufacturer, contracted riders.
Yep.
So that gives him so many options. Like realistically, he's just waiting. Like I think he would have been gone to KTM this year if they could have got the bike for him. I think he would have gone.
I don't know.
They can't get the bikes.
I don't know. I don't know if he would. I have a feeling he really wanted to stay with that brother.
I don't know. I think they're close enough in the pit lane anyway at the weekends, and the fact that Alex is there. Well, he won't be there for a while anyway now with the broken ribs.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, I think it'd be interesting anyway to see what happens next week.
He still has it though. Nobody can tell me he still doesn't have it after seeing him ride like this. I mean,
yeah, but it kind of makes you question though as well. You know, I know he's on a Ducati, right? Like, to be fair, right? Mark was fucking well overrating that bike today. Yeah. So was Fabio. So was Mir.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but you could see how hard he was pushing, and you could see. And yes. I suppose for me, where I'll give him great respect and kudos, when he went down on that bike, he stayed with that fucking bike to get that bike up. He lost only 10
You saw seconds. That too, right? You noticed that? He held on to that. He was like, hell fucking no. Do you know what I mean? But like, he pulled the clutch. He kept it revving. He knew it wasn't going to whip him around, right? But he lost only 10 seconds in that lap with that crash. Yeah. I could see. You could imagine him going down. If he's going down, he's holding on to the handlebars, going, "You piece of shit! Come on, get up!" You know, you can see him.
I'd fucking challenge you to get up off the floor in 10 seconds, Jake.
Yeah,
it's not fucking happening. None of us. But yeah, I think I think it's great kudos, and I know people say that we give Mark shit. We call it as we see it. If you do something good,
yeah,
we say it, and if you do something shit, we say it too.
Yeah, like we said, I said I'm a Marquez fan as far as his abilities, but like the towing, I still don't believe that towing.
Yeah,
if he goes to Ducati and he starts pulling that towing bill shit, I'll still give him shit. Like, cut the crap.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Look, now I thought it was actually funny on Friday because Mark was towing Pecor or whomever, I don't know who it was, but Mark was right up behind them, like in his fucking wheel tracks. But Mir was maybe about 0.7 of a second behind. He was still close enough to get the slipstream and all this, but he was actually doing what I would class as proper markering. Do you know what I mean? He was using Mark. So in the last sector, you could see Mir just pull that gap in, and Marquez went across. Or Bezzecchi went across, then Marquez went across, and then Mir went across, and he was fast. And I was just like, "Fucking serves you right." Like, do you know what I mean? That you got caught. But you could see Mir used it as a gauge, which was really, really good. So Yeah, I expect that there's going to be a special press conference in Japan to announce he's either staying or he's either going.
That was to pop that in my head. It's back in again. I did read something that Honda had requested. Honda themselves had requested that they have a ceremony for a parting ceremony in Japan.
All right, okay.
With Marquez, like we've been together, thanks for the memories, kind of thing, and that kind of sealed the deal. If that was true, that would really seal the deal.
Oh, to a yeah.
And I can see the Japanese doing that with a ceremonial, blah blah blah.
Well, actually, I don't know, because like for me, this could probably end on bad terms. Do you know what I mean? Because like he's walking out in his contract a year early. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't believe in the contract. Now, like for me, the most astonishing thing I've seen in Honda in the past 2 weeks, if I'm genuinely honest, was that Ken Kawuchi moved from an aluminium clipboard to a carbon fiber one.
Oh, that was it. That was still the deal right there.
You know, that was the fucking like piece de resistance for me. Like, you know what I mean? Like his carbon, his normal aluminium little clip.
Yes, it was just too heavy, or didn't have enough flex.
Yeah, it was just like, they're really getting into this whole carbon fiber, fucking aerodynamics, weight saving, the whole fucking shebang. Maybe
some of these fanboys are going nuts. I could take a shit if you put a Honda sticker on it. They'd be going, "That's a great piece of shit right there." There you go.
Yeah.
You tell me I had one for 30 years.
That's it. That's it. But no, look. It was good to see Honda back up there again. To be honest, and Yamaha.
Yeah.
After
Yamaha, I got words to pick with you from Yamaha. Good.
So yeah, it was good, but I just don't have the feeling that it's going to last. Do you know what I mean? I think this was one of those anomaly tracks.
Yeah.
And that was it. So,
but I want your opinion. They had Yamaha, right? Now, I don't know how familiar you are with this, but you are. You're mechanically inclined. There's Quartaro had problems with the gearboxes. Okay, I've seen him do this before. I saw I picked up MV when they did it when they were really out of horsepower. Like there's no other means to up the horsepower. They start lightening the gearbox. Now the F4 was a street bike; it was a super bike. Now I could see him doing that with the MotoGP bike. You think that would already be designed?
It's already done.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I don't know how desperate they are. You know what I'm saying? I'm not ruling it out totally. And what surprised me is the race director or the crew chief said we have two or four more iterations of the inline four to go, which bothered me because I'm playing shit. Whether you just get off your ass and start with the V4 instead of beating a dead horse. Well,
look. Yeah, look. I used I'll stand by this. I don't see them changing the inline four for 3 or 4 years. Like it's just not possible to develop an engine in a year. It's just not.
At least start. Do you realize how long we've been doing this?
But they would never openly admit we are looking at building a V4. Now we all know they have a V4 specialist in Marmoni in the ranks.
Right.
I would believe what he was saying with his 2 more things is that they brought out the 2024 engine, which Fabio did like. They would probably have another one for Valencia, an upgrade to that engine. And they will probably have one for the start of next season's testing. So there you have your 2 more versions of that. And at that stage, I would be expecting 25, 26 that they would start the prep on not the prep of bringing out the V4 engine. That way, Marmoni started in 22. So you have 22, 23, 24. So that's 3 years engine development on a V4. That's kind of my timeline. Do you know what I mean? So end of 24, they should be, if they're going to go. But look, as Crafar said,
so you think they're working on it right now, the V4?
Oh, I would think. Well, they'd have to be.
That's right. It throw me off because I'm going, shit, are they talking about they don't have a V4 in the works? The way they were talking, because it might have been four. It might have been 4 engines in the works.
They could not openly admit it at this stage. Do you know what I mean? They wouldn't like that.
Matter of fact, I think it was 4. Now that I'll go on the record, I think it was 4 engines. They had 4 engines in the pipeline.
Yeah. So look, that would kind of buy into, like they would already be working this year for next year's engine, next year for the year after. But I think they would definitely have a couple of versions or a couple of ways that they were going to do the next year's engine. Do you know what I mean? Now,
if they listened to us and started when we told them to, which is 2 years ago, 24, they'd be ready to rock and roll. See?
Yeah. Look, let's be fair and very honest with this. So, if they change to a V4, they have to change absolutely everything, right? So it's really starting from the zero, and I'm not sure that you can hold on to a really high level rider, and do that, right? So. I think there's a senior business decision to be done. But actually, talking about that, Fabio did come out last week, and he said something, and I thought it was really interesting. What he said was that in Yamaha, obviously because they don't have a satellite team now anymore, there's not the young, hungry fucking rider there to push the works factory team anymore. And he's like, when I came in, I wanted that seat, and I was fucking hell bent in getting in, and I was going to be faster than those factory fuckers, and I was going to make a name for myself, and I did. And he's very right, I think. Do you know what I mean? I think he's very, very right that the drive has gone, because when they put the 2 old boys into the satellite team and put the 2 young fellas up into the factory team, I think they got even more lost.
Yeah, did you notice Quartararo in this race at the end? He seemed to have that old spark for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice that? Or was that just me? He seemed to want that. He hit the 110% at the end of that race.
He did, yeah. Yeah. Like he was, but like you could there and then see the whole problem with Yamaha. Like when he caught Martin, the commentators were trying to fucking hype it up and everything, and I was just sitting there and I was just like going, it's just not going to happen.
I know.
It's just not going to happen. You just do. Even if Quartararo got past him,
it ain't going to happen.
That's straight. Your man's just going
to. He's just going to ride right around and go.
Like, I watched the last 3 laps of the World Superbike Sprint race this morning, and I was like, "This is fucking brilliant." Right? You had Ray up the front, you had Toprak, and you had Alvaro Bautista, and then fucking 1 lap to go. Bautista, and he made a great move. I'll be very honest, he made a great move on Toprak. Brilliant. I can't fault it. But he was 5 or 6 bike lengths behind Johnny Ray coming out onto the last straight before the straight before the last corner. And he sat the bike up in the fat part of the tire and just went, no. I went, for fuck's sake. Like,
I missed race 2.
No, this was this morning's race, the sprint race.
No, okay.
And I just went, that's not fucking racing. Do you know what I mean? It was just like he passed him in a straight line and pulled 5 or 6 bike lengths. So I was like, for fuck's sake. Like, I got excited for 10. Yeah. Well, let's say, what is it, 2 minutes left? 6 minutes. So 5 minutes, I was like, yes. And it was just like, it's like you take a Wonder Bra off a woman. You're fucking delighted with yourself, and next minute you unhook it and where they gone? It was just, I was gutted. So I said I'm not watching race 2 because, I was just fucking disgusted. Anyway, but again, look, you could definitely see that where Yamaha was in trouble. It was everywhere except the straights. The Yamaha would fucking eat them, and you could see the old Yamaha was there. But you came out of a first gear corner onto the straight, dead. So, Jack Miller. I'm really starting to worry about Miller. Really starting to worry about Miller.
What happened with Miller? It slipped my mind. I know he started to fade again, right?
to take your line, he couldn't make out in a women's prison with a carton of cigarettes. And he's
Really?
just having fucking absolutely no luck. And it's kind of funny because you're hearing the noises inside in KTM saying, "Oh, we're delighted with him. It's this, it's that, it's the other." Do you know what I mean? He's brought so much to the project. He's like telling everyone, "Fuck yourselves. I have a contract for next year. I'll be riding in KTM." You know, they signed Binder for another fucking 4 seasons or whatever. So, like, he's definitely going to be in the KTM factory seat. You have Acosta on the outside there. You know, we're all looking at that. Is it going to be gas? I'm looking at Jack's performances and saying, well, you know, Polo Espargaro is beating you. Augusto Fernandez is beating you. You're now all of a sudden the slowest.
Oh, Espargaro beat him?
Polo Espargaro was beating him yesterday in the sprint race. Do you know what I mean? Pole crashed in turn 1. I think it was today. Was it today? At one point, I was like, Jesus.
Could it be a setup? I don't know.
Could be like something has changed. Like, and how would I say? Like,
why I say that, it sounds like originally with Ducati, because before they had that switch up for the setup. Remember, somebody said try this, shits and giggles, give it a shot. And it turned his whole season around. Remember?
Yeah. And it's just
you don't have that guy going, "Hey, by the way, try this."
You do. One of his mechanics went, but I think if I'm honest, I don't know. I think he's in danger if he doesn't not pull the finger out, because look, he's always trying. Like, that's the one thing I will say about Miller, is that he will always give it 110% and try his hardest, but it just doesn't seem to be happening for him. And this is the worry. KTM, yeah, they're all very smiley, happy people, but they're also fucking ruthless, absolutely ruthless when it comes to rider market performance. And they have that fucking problem still. They have 5 bums and 4 seats.
Yeah, and
you know,
they didn't get that. KTM didn't get that big of a company that fast. All right, yeah, they're double the size of Ducati. You know that
financially, yeah.
They didn't get that way being nice.
They didn't. No. But look, at the end of the day, the way I look at it is that he could be in an awful lot of trouble very quickly if he keeps, like, if Brad keeps getting in the top 5 and your man can't get in the top 10 consistently, game over, right? And if you have Polo Espargaro, who is at the latter part of his career, similar to Miller. Miller's only a couple of years behind him, you know, and he's matching you.
Yeah.
And here's the young pretender to who the world seemed to think is the next Marc Marquez.
Everybody but you and I.
Well, look, there's a few people that don't see it either. You know, look, but they're not saying that, right? He could come into MotoGP and completely flop. Like Raul Fernandez was pretty handy. To be fair, he was pretty handy in Moto 2. But he's come into MotoGP and he's flopped.
Yeah.
Fabio Quartararo wasn't great in Moto 2 and came into MotoGP and excelled. Do you know what I mean? So it's all different ways and swings and roundabouts and stuff. So I suppose for me, when I look at it, KTM will want to put Acosta somewhere. We're all thinking that it's gas, and I'm kind of thinking, dare I say it, that it's the actual mainstream KTM. Now, also what I do think is very, very interesting is that what's that young chap in Moto 2 from Rossi's team?
Vietti?
Vietti? Yeah. Vietti is actually joining IO Moto 2, KTM Moto 2 next season. I think that's really interesting. So look, I think that there's, like, KTM have an awful lot of talent in their pool, and I don't think they're afraid of making a difficult decision. And if someone is not performing the way they're doing it, and here I have it, right? Like, I said this day one when Jack threw his leg over the KTM.
Yep.
The longer he's there, the less valuable he gets.
Yes. I was thinking that as soon as you said it. Yep.
you know, and unfortunately that's true, because next year, I'm not sure if you know this yet, but next year there's a change of the ECUs. Now, so any new bike next year will have a completely different ECU than this year. So the people
I
riding,
didn't know that.
the people riding the 2024 bikes will have a different ECU to the ones riding the 2023 bikes. And I think this was also kind of part of the decision why Bezzecchi maybe did stay within the VR46. Now, I think the VR46 team made him stay there. Suggested he should stay there because I do.
But wasn't that whole thing? No, I refreshed my own memory. Wasn't that they changed the ECU to accommodate the new fuel coming in 20? And that was just
there's a new there. Yeah. So the but I don't think you can take that ECU and plug it into a 2022 or 23 bike.
Right, but so I mean, the reason of that was for this new fuel. It really wasn't any performance gain or loss.
Yeah, but it'll still be different. Do you know what I mean? I guarantee you there'll be different setup measurements and stuff like that. So I wouldn't expect it to be a carbon copy of exactly what they have right now. So I think it's something that we probably do have to look at next year. I do have to dive into it more to see exactly what is going to be the difference. But and I think this is a reason that Bezzecchi also was staying away from it. Now, I still believe some point next year we're going to hear that VR46 are either going to take over a satellite or actually going to take over the factory entry, and the factory entry would be a satellite. Does that make sense? So VR46 will be more ingrained in the factory team of Yamaha, and there will be another satellite Yamaha team in the place of VR46. Does that make sense?
Yeah, except I don't know how much Bezzecchi's going to like that.
I don't know. I think it'll be interesting, but I think he also has a lot of trust in Valet. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I think
you have to be pretty damn stupid to go, oh yeah, Bezzecchi, Bez, their buddy, they're going to figure it out the next 2 months. Yeah,
but look. I suppose that's where, and we will never be privy to the information, but I would think Yamaha would be sharing confidentially with Rossi and them. This is the plan. Do you know what I mean? And Rossi's not going to be stupid enough to say, "Oh, well, if we stick with the inline 4," do you know what I mean? I think he would be happy to spend whatever it is, 25 million on the bikes and the team to have competitive bikes, but there's still that whole fucking problem of Ducati and the 8 bikes, and as we know, Ducati don't want to have 8 bikes.
No.
So if they don't take up Yamaha as a satellite team, what other team do they go to? KTM?
Yeah, anything. Yeah, right.
The only factory that's willing to go 6 bikes is KTM.
Right. Something stinks.
But maybe is that why Vietti has gone to KTM? So there's a link. Do you know? Like, is the whole VR46 thing going to be ingrained with KTM? Do you know what I mean? I don't know. Look, it's a couple of things.
It's an odd situation. I've never seen it before like this.
Yeah. So, but yeah, look, it'll be interesting. I will find out more about the ECU. Yeah. But look, there were some great rides there today. To be fair.
Another one that said it was the Marc Marquez riding and Mir riding. He says nothing. He goes, for you Honda fans, nothing happens overnight in MotoGP anymore. He's trying to drill it in. I feel bad for these guys that go, oh, they're great, they're fine. They expect it every race. It's like, no, it's not going to happen that way.
I kind of feel the opposite. I feel a little bit happy for them. Do you know what I mean? That they've, because look, Mark is a fantastic rider. Do you know what I mean? And it's great to see his fans see him get back up there. Now,
and they get dropped like a rock.
Yeah, but he's not out now saying, and I would 100% agree with you if he was out saying we've turned a corner, we're coming back, this is it. But he's not. But he's just saying so. So I think he's setting the right expectation.
If they keep buying that bullshit, that's their own damn fault. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But
like, you got to see it fall off the next day. You didn't realize it just doesn't happen that fast.
Yeah, but like I think he's being very realistic with the fans, saying, "Listen, look, and so is Fabio. Do you know what I mean?" And like they're both saying, "Look, we'll see next week if something has really changed or if it." And like, forgive me if I sound a bit optimistic, but I'm like, if a rider gets a bit of confidence back, it's a fucking dangerous thing. Do you know what I mean? Until he face plants the ground again, right? And then that confidence wipes out. But
I'm glad to hear you say that because I thought it was me. I thought, this year he has not been pushing at 110% like he did last year.
Yeah. And
I thought it was just me. I thought
Pecco said it. Pecco said it perfect. We haven't seen Mark since the Saxon ring, and that was one.
I was talking 100%. I was talking about Fabio.
Even with Fabio and Mark, right? Like especially Mark, since he went on the crash fest in Saxon ring, Pecco said it's like he's not Mark. Do you know what I mean? He's different. And this weekend he was back to his old self. And Fabio, for the most part, he was too. Like he wasn't too bad in the sprint, but today, like I'll give him kudos. He never gave up. Do you know what I mean? And Martin made the mistake towards the end, which he said was down to hydration or whatever or dehydration, that he was so tired from the race. And you can kind of understand it, but look, basically he made a fucking mistake. Like, and just say, I made a mistake. I brake too late. Not that I was dehydrated. I fucking brake too late. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Which I still love racing drivers giving them up their thing. But I suppose one of the things that I'm really, really worried about for MotoGP, the attendance today for the weekend was 111,000. It was like 115,000 in Misano. It was 110,000 for Catalonia, right?
Yeah, it's the first race. You got to give it.
No. But what I'm saying is, and that's the reason why I mentioned the two other races, right?
Yeah, but it's the first race in India. They got to get.
No. I'm not talking about specifically India.
Oh, okay.
111, 115, 110. Suzuka in Formula One was on this weekend also, right?
Mm-hmm.
Race capacity for that is 108,000 or 110,000 at the track per day. They had 225,000 people through the gates over the course of the weekend.
Okay.
So that's 100,000 more.
And they ran out of money. So I think it's just people ran out of money and they have to choose now.
Yeah, but that's my problem. It's 100,000 more people trackside over the course of the weekend than MotoGP. So something is wrong somewhere to get spectators to watch the race.
I did think it's the economy.
Yeah, but look,
we don't have the money.
I just think people are just. I think there's a problem, a big problem coming because what happens next, Jake, is that if the circuits aren't getting the people in the door, then they can't afford the fees to run the race.
Yeah.
Like if you look at Formula One right now, for instance, and I know this I think the cheapest race weekend for a circuit to buy the rights to have the race is 25 million.
Right.
Right. Only a small percentage of that comes back through the ticket sales.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? MotoGP, which is far cheaper than Formula One to go and attend. And I don't think we would have half of the hosting costs that Formula One does have.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not filling the grandstands. And that's, for me, is a problem, because what that will do is all of a sudden it becomes a loss leader to run an event, and then tracks who are also feeling the pinch are going to say, well, I'll go to World Superbikes. They'll nearly give us the race for free, and we'll make a few bob off the. Do you know what I mean? So for me, that's where the worry is. And even when I look at I suppose what is going on with it, I'm quite worried about the attendance, and it's something that I watch every weekend to see is it in and around the 100,000. Because I remember in Spain, go back 5 years ago, 6 years ago, you had like 300,000 at the fucking weekend. Like, do you know what I mean? 100,000 every day.
Right.
And now you're only getting 1/3 of it. Do you know what I mean? Again, look, it comes down to bums on seats. They pay the bills, and it's not happening. And it's definitely something that I think MotoGP need to fix. Now, is that because they've made MotoGP so digitally available? Maybe. Do you know what I mean? But yeah. We have a race this weekend.
Yes, we do.
We have Japan.
Oh, Japan.
Yeah. So definitely we will, if we do hear that there's an announcement in thing, we might jump on and do a live.
Oh, we're gonna do a dance.
Do a live reaction. Is it? And then I think we might
in the saddle again.
Oh, yeah. Blue 93 is it? Is what everyone has said. Yeah, look, I think this weekend Motegi, you just don't know what's going to fucking happen in Motegi. We probably won't see Marini, who is. I actually saw a great meme.
Motegi sounds like it's a place they throw spears at you. You know what I mean?
Could if you say the wrong fucking
thing.
Yeah, I saw a great meme today. So obviously, remember Marini? He hit into Bezzecchi, right? And 1 second, and this says, "I need a doctor, but after this crash, I'm quite afraid of him." I.e., my brother's going to fucking kill me. Yeah, so he's out with a broken or fracture in the shoulder. So I think he was already went back to Italy. And then obviously we have Alex Marquez, who won't make it either because he has a broken ribs, which is a nasty fucking one to get over. Do you know what I mean? Because like anytime you cough or fart or fucking anything, do you know what I mean? It is definitely going to hurt. Do you know what I mean? So
a broken rib, the bone breaks, isn't that bad.
Ribs,
right? It's not that bad. If the cartilage is pulled away from the bone, now that's a rough one on your ribs. You can actually, there's cartilage between the.
Well, look, we don't know the extent of it, but look,
that's the brutal one.
It's definitely he definitely won't be there this weekend or next weekend, according to himself, and the way he said it, that he's going to be pretty sore tomorrow. So that was the day after. So look, I don't know. I think it's interesting to see what exactly is going to happen. Next weekend is going to be a big weekend. I think obviously it's going to change the landscape of what goes on. It's either going to be a genius move for Marc Marquez, or he's going to be, people are going to criticize. Regardless of what he does, I think he's going to get criticized either way. Do you know what I mean? If he moved to Gresini,
I'm not even being biased on this because it's been said for so long that I can't see. You'd have to be an idiot not to go to. It's all upside going to Gresini. If you don't want the money, okay, it's all upside.
Yeah. Look,
when your grandfather pulls you and says, "Listen, that bike's going to kill you. Get away from." He didn't say to go to Ducati. He said go to another manufacturer or retire. One of the two.
Yeah, look, I think it's a hard decision for him because he doesn't like change. Now, it's an easy decision for him because that bike is going to fucking seriously hurt him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But again,
I think he'd be best at. You're going to hear him think I'm nuts, but I think he'd be best at Aprilia. But that's just my.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the Aprilia needs to be ridden in line, and what I mean now, that is tires in line.
I know.
Not in line, but I think, and I don't think that's his style. I don't think that's the way he likes to ride. Now, speaking of an Aprilia, a person that if they ever came into a pit box and did what they did to me, I would give them some fucking kick into the balls, followed
What
by
happened?
a knee. So, Alicia Spagaro lost the fucking plot with the team on Friday. It was a Friday, I think it was Friday, and he came in to the pit lane and he started fucking screaming and shouting because they sent him down early. But what had actually happened was that there was a delay, and he came back up. But it was just, I was looking at it and I was just like, now, like I coached fucking underage football, right? So I'm used to managing the hormones and all of this of under 14, 15 kids, right? Who think all of a sudden that, you know, maybe because their voice is deepened slightly that they're a man, right? And like, if anyone fucking challenged me like that, I would nearly slap the shit out of him there and then, no questions asked. I don't care. Like, he's not pumped up on fucking adrenaline, do you know what I mean? Because he's just gone down the pit lane. Do you know what I mean? So that's not an excuse of, you know, I'm just off the fucking bike and whatever. Like, he came back up the thing because the pit lane light didn't go green. He thought it was to go green, and then they told him no. And then he went back up and he started shouting and screaming and roaring at the team. Now, he did come out later on and apologize and whatever, but I was just like, what sort of fucking idiot are you? Do you know what I mean? In a fairly Irish way of like, and when we say what sort of fucking idiot are you, it's not something you'd say to someone that they get personally upset about. It's like, yeah, you were out of order there, dickhead. Do you know what I mean? You know, pinch of salt, take it with. But
we're not offending his culture like that one guy.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. And look for me, I just thought it was out of line. Do you know what I mean? And it's really past. You know, I suppose when I look at things, right, I look at it in a team sort of way, right? There's many times there's many times he makes mistakes, and there's many times the team makes a mistake. Do you know what I mean? And the last thing you do is go in and start shouting abuse at your team. Now, we've seen Pecco do it. We saw Davi do it. We see some of them do it. And we still call it out as like, that's not how you fucking function. Like, do you know what I mean? This is not it's a team sport. You let them down, they let you down. You know, you have a hissy fit. That's fine. Do you know what I mean? But the way he went into the pit lane or went into the pits and started shouting at people was, for me, was fucking out of line. Do you know what I mean? And I'm very surprised that Rivola stood for it. Do you know what I mean? Because he would be quite how would I say, quite a tough taskmaster, I suppose. But yeah, all in all, I thought, and again, I'll give kudos to the Indian team and track over there. I thought that the racetrack was epic. I thought they did a really good job in it, and I think, you know, my only slight criticism was that the turn one crash at the sprint race did take a little bit long to clear. Do you know what I mean? But again, I didn't see everything that happened there either, so there could have been bikes all over fucking angles. But I do know some of them were some others like Patterson and them were kind of saying and rightly pointing out that the marshals weren't dressed appropriately. Like, they were out in shorts and t-shirts and this, that, and the other. I know it's hot there and humid there, but there's fucking bikes there that could explode and go in. Do you know what I mean? Or there's hot flammable bikes. Do you know what I mean? And you need to be in a proper suit. Do you know what I mean? Even if it's the boiler suit. Do you know what I mean? But they were in shorts and t-shirt running out into the gravel, which is not a good thing. Do you know what I mean? But
speaking of that, though, whatever happened with the Martin and his zipper?
Yeah, so that was actually funny because I spotted it about 5 laps before the
he did,
the commentators and
it was a good fast pickup. Crazy, had good eyes.
I do. You see me in the strip club, but no, it was and I if I was Fabio Quartararo, I'd feel a little bit aggrieved by this because his zip was open for 5 or 6 laps. Easy, maybe 7 laps, and I could see it, and like if we remember, Quartararo got a penalty last time that happened. Do you know what I mean? Now, to be fair, he waited for a slow part of the track and he did zip it up. I would give him kudos for that. And it didn't come back down.
The big thing with Fabio, I think, is when he pulled the chest out. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's because it rode up and went under his neck. So
okay, I didn't hear about that.
So the chest plate went up, then with the wind got in underneath it and was pushing it up into his neck.
But it makes sense, yeah.
So yeah, but look, definitely some questions asked in Alpine Stars of what actually fucking happened. Because it's not supposed to. That's obviously not supposed to happen. But yeah, look, overall, I think again, I'll go back. I'll say India performed. So you didn't realize it was its first Grand Prix, which I think that's probably the best comment that you could give it. You know what I mean? It didn't look. The only funny thing that I did see was that when they delayed the start of the sprint race to dry the track, they did have the dryers and the thing.
Yeah.
And they were dryers, but they were street sweepers. But on the side of it, it actually said safety car 2. And I was like, well, lads, if that's your fucking safety car, one of those street sweepers that goes 15 miles an hour, I was like, you're fucked anyway. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. With big brush underneath. What happened to him? Whoop, we lost him.
Check the bin. Check the bin. Yeah.
Stop, no. Don't back up. Okay.
No, but look. To be fair, I think
look out the other side.
I think it was a really, really good race. I think there was great battles. And look, I would definitely roll on next year to let's see it, see what it does.
Yep. But all in all, good weekend for racing.
Yep, and another great weekend to come in Motegi. Now that's one is an early one, so well, actually, you probably wouldn't even be gone to bed by the time that one happens. I think it's a 5 o'clock in the morning one for me, so it's a midnight for you.
Okay, and I'm always up. Yeah.
So anyway, so until next week, folks.
I'm just waiting for that Motegi. I wonder if they'll probably make everybody wait till the end of the race to give the announcement.
Well, if I was Marquez, I'd fucking definitely wait. You know what I mean? Just in case like you have a good weekend in Motegi. I think we'll also see Cal Crutchlow out in the Yamaha in Motegi as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know they say for some reason he's enjoying all this attention for making everybody wait.
Oh yeah, sure. As we said last week's one, like he loved this. This is his favorite. Now he's fucking with the press, and to be honest, I would be like that too. You know, fuck you. You've written loads of articles and stories, and what about me? This and the other. I'll do it on my terms and on my time, and I'm going to give you whatever the fuck I want to do it whenever the fuck I want to do it.
Yeah. But like I said, if he backs out, if he's worried about the fans so much and what they think, that's another reason they think he would go, you know?
Maybe, yeah.
Like when he saw that person, please switch over you have one sign, okay, with somebody saying, please switch over. You got 100,000 minds saying the same thing. Yeah,
well, I think there was probably 100 million people all nodding in agreement that he should when that sign went out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So
anybody that's a Marc Marquez fan would say, or for years we've been saying, get off the bike, anywhere, Schwinn, we don't care. Just stop getting hurt.
Yeah. I get you. Anyway, right. I think we will wrap it up there for this week. And sure, look, we will. No doubt we'll be on at some stage next week. And thank you very much.
I'm asking for help for everybody. If you can find a Lifan stator for a LF161QMJ engine, a one-cylinder GY6 type engine, I cannot find one to save my life.
Okay.
I figure maybe somebody out there knows one. I'm desperate. I can't find one. I've been looking for days.
Fair enough.
And I'm good at it too.
Yeah. Well, Joe, what you do now? Put that spec into the comments for tomorrow, and surely someone might know of one.
Yeah.
Anyway, radio. We'll wrap it up there. Be good, and if you can't be good, well, don't get caught at least. All right, Chicky Boo.
There you go.